Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Now Bali podcast. Today I have the pleasure of speaking to an esteemed member of the Ubud Royal Family and one of Bali's respected authorities on culture and local traditions, Tjokorda Raka Kerthyasa. He is with us today to shed light on a colossal ceremony unfolding in Ubud, known as Karya Agung Penyejeg Jagat, which takes place around every 30 to 50 years. The peak of the ceremony is on November 10, 2024. In this episode, we discuss the ins and outs of Balinese ceremonies, worship, offerings, and philosophy. Born in the Ubud Palace in 1954, Tjok Raka grew up in an environment concentrated with art, culture, and tradition, something which has stayed with him throughout his life. Celebrating and upholding culture has been his lifelong mission, from revitalizing old traditions in Ubud, organizing Balinese performing art showcases in Sydney, to leading important Bali cultural organizations like Tri Hita Karana. Tjok Raka founded the beautiful boutique hotel Iba, found at the entrance of the Champuan Ridge, built strongly on Balinese philosophies. In 2009, he became the Bendesa Adat of Ubud, or the head of the traditions of Ubud, playing a central role in the day-to-day runnings of the town, including in the religious aspects of the local community. This position remains his current focus. Tjok Raka is an important source of knowledge and wisdom, and we are so lucky to have him here and joining us on the Now Bali podcast. Without further ado, we hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you very much, and also to our sponsor, Genesis Creative Center. Thank you. All right. Ready, Tjok?
Yeah.
Perfect. Tjok, thank you so much for joining us today on the Now Bali podcast. Thank you for being here. I think before we start, it would be great if you could give some context to your background. So if you could maybe start by sharing a little bit about yourself, your connection to Ubud, and also your family's heritage.
Yeah, well, I was born in the ground of the Ubud Palace. So as you know, in our social structure in Bali, during the kingdom, that's we are one of the heritage of the king of Bali during Markandia, and then after that during Raja Waturenggong, which is related to Klungkung, Sukawati, Pliatan, and Ubud. So we are the sixth generation in Ubud. So as a obligation of the Ksatria Wangsa in Bali, we are trusted to be always leading the cultural religion activities and finding some solution in the term of problem in the villages, and about building the temple, about making the symbol of God and goddesses to be worshipped. So many other part of activities in traditional religions and cultural, we are still until now, being trusted to be guided from the royal family of Ubud. So I was born in 1954. So then I grew up in many different time, many process of life in different political problem, natural disaster, Mount Agung, and all I go through all that process actually. Then in 1978, I married Australian lady, Asri. And then that's where we starting at building a homestay in Champuan, where is the Iba Hotel now. We call it Cecak Inn. So that's time, Bali and Ubud was being promoted so many, so much from government also. Because the time of introducing Bali cultural and everything for tourism, lot of that time actually group of students coming to Ubud artist or writer or a lot of anthropology and researchers. So that time really, they coming to Bali for preset and looking for culture, not culture looking for tourists. Yeah. So that's at the same time. By the visitor outsider of Bali, we have culturally have to respect the tourists, the guests. That's why we have to serve the best to the guests, not just guests from outside or any guests. Because hospitality in Bali, it's been learned from home. How to receive guests, how to serve the guests and everything. Have to be friendly and smile, protected, to be clean. All that hospitality culturally is already trained in Bali by our system in the family, in the villages and everything.
Well, on that note, now you obviously have a beautiful boutique hotel in Ubud by the name of Iba. And it's next to the Champuan Ridge, obviously a very culturally and religiously important area of Ubud. Before we get into that aspect, talk about hospitality. I understand that to make that hotel, you went through a lot of not really classic hotel planning, but really religious, cosmological planning around building Iba. Can you share a little bit about that and what went into those important decisions when making that resort?
Well, because of my lifestyle, it's in some way it's a gift for me, but in the other way it's a lot of struggle at the same time, marrying outsider, marrying Australian girl and live in Australia. And then I'll be able to get the essence of hospitality at the same time. So during my time in Australia, actually I learned a lot literally about my culture. Because the time when I'm in Bali, I just follow the leader, yeah? If when I do deep play, I don't have to explain it, I understand what's the meaning of what. So my time in Australia, I have so much question about it. From I've been asked to give some speaking in the school for the children about Balinese life, about Balinese culture, about ceremony, cremation. So at the same time, I have to literally, I have to read, I have to learn how to explain that. And then practically, I doing it in Bali, you know, by as my way of life. Just follow the leader and combine that practical culture and literature. Then it's become a knowledge that you can have some inspiration. What the essence of all this, you know. So from Chechak in, and then fortunate we have money that time during 1994, you know, 94 we starting the Iba. And then I try to finding the meaning of holiday actually. People come to Bali for holiday. But we are in Bali have holiday every day, you know. So what it is about holiday? And then at the same time, I'm reading a lot also about the philosophy, theosophy of symbol in Bali. And I relate that connection between spirituality and the holiday word, you know. So actually, holiday is to let go your abandon of your daily life, to be able to be one with the nature surrounding you. And senses, the five senses that we given by the Creator, like eyes, nose, ears, skin and tongue, that's actually a tool of communication to object of the outside, to bring it to your mind The mind will influence your word, speaks, and action. And then from that, I try to create this physically by building the Iba Hotel. So all the design is also combined from a lot of sources, including Javanese, also Greek, pyramid, everything. I try to finding the how to create this harmony actually. And then that's why the garden, the building, the space, all that is part of my research, and also try to manifest the idea of holiday. That's why the garden, everything, because we have to create paradise for your senses, paradise for your eyes, paradise for your nose, ears, skin, tongue, mind, and heart. The 7 elements that influence our daily life actually. And that kind of purpose is happen when we doing ceremony in the temple. We decorate the temple nicely so the eyes can be happy. So we have music that related to our ceremony to make your ears is happy, positive, yeah. Smell of incense. In the hotel, we plant flowers to make smell for you, nice smell for you, positive. The tongue, the food that relate to the water, all that. The environment, the space and form is related to the air that circulate in the area, which is related to the skin can feel it. The cold, the warm, the nice comfort and everything. So those kind of a concept that I put it on the idea to build the Iba Hotel to make really people feel on holiday. On holiday, no pressure, no try to decorate that overdone something, just to please the eyes. Because before you build the houses or places you stay, you make a design from your mind to put it on the paper according what you needed in the houses. Where is the bathroom, where's the kitchen, where's the toilet, where's the bedroom. But when the building is finished, the building will design you. So this is very important to relate that. Because when the building physically built, it's different than the drawing on the paper. That's why when the building of that hotel, I have many time to knock down some places, some part of the building. But that's the course of idealistic to be succeed. You have to sacrifice something before you get something you want achieve your dream and your idea about it. So.
Well, Iba's very lucky in terms of its position. I mean, you've created this retreat based on a lot of the Balinese philosophies, like you were saying. I find it interesting that this idea of senses that you experience in a temple is something that you wanted to manifest into the hospitality as well. In comparison to modern days, where we're trying to overstimulate the senses. Yeah. This is sort of stripping back and going back and letting your senses experience what exists, essentially. Yeah.
And also, historically, we're very fortunate to have that land from our ancestor. And that's why also the name even Iba, which is mean a gift, a bequest, because the land is given from my ancestor. So we have to preserve that gift. Because also historically, the area of Champuan is a very sacred journey of the holy priest from India around 1010 century in the past. And that's very important place of Champuan, the meeting of the river, and many decade in that area being created a new success, a productive idea of art, of cultural, of the tradition that we descended it now in Bali and in Ubud especially, including the concept of Banjar, our community, the desa, and the subak for the farm and rice field. All that was finding the inspiration by this holy man in the area of Champuan up to Taro area to the north. And also the meeting of the two elements of art between the tradition and the Westerner during the Walter's Peace, and Bonnet came to Bali. And then they mix that. Because interaction culture is when you process it with awareness and consciousness, it's going to create a new model, a new model. Then we have in Bali what we call contemporary art because of that meeting. So Champuan is not just a meeting a river, it's a meeting of Sakalo dan Iskalo, so the spiritual and the physical life. And also I can relate because I'm married to Westerners, so I have a mixed campur kawin, between West and East. So mixing of interaction of two elements, it's, when you do it rightly, it's going to born a new special idea or concept, or can help everyone at the same time.
Yeah, so you've got a Campuran family.
Yeah.
Growing up at Campuhan
At
itself.
Champuan, yeah.
Well, I think this, like you said, that area, the beginning of sort of the Champuan Ridge in the center of Ubud, and the meeting of two rivers, is a really significant point in Ubud, and one of the central temples there, the Pura Gunung Lebah,
yeah,
is just underneath the hotel there. What is it about that physically or geographically which is so important or spiritually charged, do you think, for the Balinese?
Yeah, we have two ways historically, because it's passed through the holy man of Risi Markandeya, and he finding a lot of inspiration there to have some system, concept of how to protect Bali without ignoring about the changing of the time. That's why the name of Ubud is also come from there, because during the time all his people being sick and died around during that time, and then they have a melukat in Balinese called on the meeting of the river. They wash there and they get bath there and they become healthy and everything. That's why that area called Champuan was the meeting of the river, and the village is called Ubud, because Ubud related to obat. Obat is medicine, and also related to ulah budi dharma, which is the attitude, action with foundation of loving and kindness, which is the ulah budi dharma. So the loving kindness is to make people also being healed, mentally and physically. A lot of our ancestors also practice like a magician, like Balian, Balian. Banyak di Ubud dulu.
Yeah.
Balian. That's all because the connection of the between Sakalo dan Iskalo, the spirit and the physical world, which is need lot of sacrifice to preserve that, lot of commitment. And spiritual journey has to be consistent. Whatever season is, you still have to be consistent. You can't just jumping, moving around to fulfill your wants or your outcome of spiritual journey. Spiritual journey is like flowing of river, flowing of water. Every day is new. Every day it has to be consistent. Don't let it dry. Keep it warm and wet.
Well, I mean, that brings us to, I think, a really big discussion right now, which is about this monumental ceremony that's happening in Ubud, November 2024. Karya Agung Penyejeg Jagat. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. And it only occurs every 50 years. So this is going to be, I would say, one of the biggest ceremonies in many people's lifetimes in Ubud. But I don't think many people understand when a ceremony happens every 50 years, what is this for? I think people really want to understand the context of the significance and the objective of this kind of ceremony, Pak Tjok.
Yeah, it's a ceremony. We call it yadnya in Bali. Yadnya, it means a sacrifice. Sacrifice is a part of an offering to our ancestor and to the God, who we believe in Panchasrada. That's what we back to the basic belief first. We believe in the Supreme God with its manifestation. We believe in the soul and Atman. We believe in the law of karma. We believe in the reincarnation. And we believe in liberation, moksha. So from that belief, and then our ancestors make a concept, the wisdom, older ancestors make a concept. They're making a concept with Pancha Yadnya. Yadnya is a ceremony, spiritual ceremony, not just ritual, spiritual. So the Pancha Yadnya is Dewa Yadnya, Manusia Yadnya, Pitra Yadnya, Bhuta Yadnya, and Rasi Yadnya. So in this term of ceremony, Penyejeg Jagat in Ubud is going to happen on the 10th of November. Actually dominated it by Dewa Yadnya. But the other rest is also happening, but not dominated it. In every yadnya, the 5 yadnya will happen, but it's dominated it. Like wedding, tooth filing, Manusia Yadnya dominated it. So all that they have a concept, they have a ethic and moral, and on the action of the yadnya, on the performing the yadnya, we have 3 base that we have to understand it. First, upacara and upakara. Upakara is the element of material offering that we have to prepare it. Upacara is how to perform that ceremony. And then philosophy, base of tattva, the philosophy according to the Sumeru. And the third one is the ethic and moral. And we have to do this with sensory and with offering to the God, not transaksi with God, yeah. We offering it, we call yadnya, persembahan. So, because of the time, from time to time, from Resi Makandia come to Bali, it's many another cultural been get into Bali. And they always create new system in every area in different Bali. Until the last one is Ida Dangyang Nirarto, maybe around 13th century. So all this element has been preserved in Bali. All the outside interaction and influences of the culture, they get into Bali and they creating and become Balinese culture, Balinese tradition. But all elements come from outside. The influence of China, for instance, influence of Greece, yeah, we have the story about it. Europe, everyone from decade to decade. And the last one, the concept for ritual in Bali, we related again in the concept of social structure. This is the complex one. complex one, never-ending story. We have system of caste in Bali. We have system of wangsa. Wangsa is related to your ancestor. And that identification with the first name of the person of Balinese. For instance, I'm Tjokorda Raka Kerthyasa. Tjokorda is related to our ancestor, Dalam Klungkung, and so until back to Majapahit. So we call it in the Kshatriya system. But in the one caste system, they also a lot of become changing again the identity. Then Brahmana and then Vaishya and this. They all have a part to perform in the ritual. They all have a right to do according to their part in the ritual and ceremony. And then every wangsa and every sekta, mungkin wangsa is not sekta, it's a ancestor blood. They have their house temple and they have the communal temple in this ancestor. We call kawitan. And we all have in Bali that's in different, many different. And then all wangsa have that. And then we have Kayangan Tiga, which is one of these. The three main temple in the villages, Pusah, Desa, Dalam, and then Dang Kayangan, Sad Kayangan, everything. But all the purpose of yadnya, ritual, small or big, is to keep the balance between dualism, what we call ruo binedo. Because the balance, it's very important to be achieve the harmonies, even not 100%, but at least close to the perfection. It's never perfect. We're not perfect. So that's why this ritual is always happen in Bali. So there is a ceremony every 210 days. You know, that's like our birth, Oton in Bali. And some temples celebrating it every 1 year using the lunar calendar, moon. The one that's 210 days using the sun calendar, because we combine that between sun and moon, the law of sky and the law of Niskala and Sakala. So the big ceremony like this in terms of Desa Adat, the one we're doing in Bali is the higher level, because we have 3 levels, Nista, Madhya, Utamo, small, middle, and higher. We choose that day because they have in the good month. The last one was 20 years ago. The second one, support by the economic. The third one, because the villages agree with it. So this Desa Kalapatra is always become a time when we make the decision, which is mean Desa is place, Kala is situation and condition, Patra is situation and condition, Kala is time. So it's not always in the same 27 years or 30 years, but when I take a conclusion, I think we have to perform this in every one generation. Because you have choices from 22 years from the last one until 33 years. So between these two, you choose the time when it's everything is going okay. So the purpose is offering to our ancestor, God and Goddess, and the element of Bhuta Kala, because we can separate that. Bhuta, Dewa, Kala, and Manusya. And we all have that character. It's actually, you can relate that character. Because element is Bhuta, is character of object, yeah, like earth, water, sky, fire, and air, and space, and so on. Kala is time. Kala eat you every moment. So don't even try to avoid the time, because in the West they call time is money, you know. So because Kala never backward, they always going forward. And there's a Kala Patra. That's the purpose of to keep the harmony, because the word it says in the Sastra also, ada yadnya, ada hujan, ada tumbuh. Whereas yadnya being performed with sincerely, with a tulus ikhlas, with consciousness, without expectation, the rain will come. When the rain come, everything going to be grow. When the grows thing, then we can have something to eat and so on.
Does that stem from a very agrarian society, this sort of symbolism of rain and abundance and fertility? Does that come from the agricultural society of the past, that symbolism?
Automatically. Basically, it's there because according to our geographic where we are in Bali, we are in the tropical area. So water is, I think water everywhere important. But culture will create by the places where you are. That's why so many different culture in the world and so many different tradition in the world. Because we are stay in the different places. You have to adjust yourself, the human, with the environment. Because environment and surrounding is make the character of the people, the perilaku, the way of their life. In Bali, belief is the eastern area in the Asian, because between Bali and Lombok there is called Whale Strait. According to the story, a lot of journey of holy men, when the time was India, Sumatra, Malaysia, Java, Bali is one benua, yeah? There's a one-way journey from west to east and end up in Bali. Because that Australiana area in Lombok to east. So that's why also the gravity of Bali is also very strongly, and to preserve that is through yadnya and ceremony.
Now this ceremony is specifically for Ubud.
Yeah.
And different villages or regions will have a similar yadnya or ceremony in their own way in the different regions.
Yeah. And I involved in many different regions. And the most important in this time also, we buried the 5 elements in every shrine in Bali. In one generation between 22 years and 40. What is that 5 element? We buried gold, silver, copper, iron, and ruby. You can imagine from Resi Markandeya until now, how many kilo of gold have been buried in Bali, all over Bali.
Wow.
Because every shrine have that. So we don't mine the gold, maybe because we don't have mining here. But that's the 5 element actually like charging the energy to the earth. Because earth is the place of energy, of creativity. Yeah. The earth. That's why scientifically this ritual and ceremony is really much related to the element of universe, about how to preserve the energy, preserve the magnetized thing, about how you can understand between upati, satiti, pralino. That's 3 concept of creation, conservation, and pralino actually mean bring back to the nature, not destroyer, not destroy like what people want it naturally destroy because of the time and everything. That's pralina. So this three things, it's all happening every moment. We are in the moment of death at the same time, you know, without we are aware about it.
So, I mean, what I find interesting is this idea of creating balance. And I understand with the Manusa Yadnya, which is sort of more about our personal rites of passage. There's obviously a selfish element there of making sure that your soul is rooted here and goes through the right journeys. But when you do a larger ceremony like this, what's the motivation there? Because do you feel that the Balinese community has a sense of responsibility of keeping balance in the wider world? Is that what it is? Or is it just for Bali? Is it just for Ubud? Or does everyone have to play that part?
Well, there is some territorial area and also universal area. So now whatever small is your contribution for the universe is part of the universe. Even it's in Ubud, but in the term of Veda and Sastra, is for Buano Agung, which means universe. But we're taking part in the small part of the universe, which is part of the universe. So if every village is doing there, it's making even the universe get balancing, you know. So balancing is to keep the creation, conservation, preserve, and back to the nature again. You know, destroyer. That's three things happening. But the purpose of Balinese being born in terms of a soul and Atman is to be free from that abandon, beyond dualism. And this is one of the process of that. Now it's become individual to choose it. You can stay in the balancing, or you can go beyond balancing, or you can go even worse, back down. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So the space of ritual is giving you also choices, which direction you want to lead your soul or your life.
Yeah.
In that direction, very much opportunity people can choose that.
So, I mean, maybe it'll be interesting to hear about the scale of this ceremony as well. And as you are the Bendesa Adat Ubud, you are very much involved in the day-to-day runnings of the ceremony itself. Maybe can you share a little bit about what are the different stages, or what are some of the preparations and the phases of this ceremony? Because like you mentioned, on the 10th of November 2024, that will be the peak, right? So that's the punchak.
Yeah, the climax.
Yeah, the climax of it. But before that, there's so many things going on.
So many things. It's just like when you in love with somebody.
It's the foreplay. Yeah.
So many things, because in the process of yadnya in Bali, we already doing our 4 yoga. Maybe it's you friendly with this word of yoga, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So first, when we have niat, conscious for offering to ancestor and God, that's what we call bhakti yoga. You have niat to perform ritual or thanks to the God, and yadnya offering, conscious about the gift of the God. And that's called bhakti yoga. And then when the bhakti yoga is awareness, and then you start to get some inspiration, idea, and concept according your situational, you know. about your financial, about your area, about how big, how small. And then we have to go to the high priest to discuss that thing. And then when the day of the time, like in Ubud, 3 months before the ceremony, we already starting it, the preparation. So when you're doing the act of yadnya, you're doing a karma yoga. Because everyone who come to doing the work in the temple, most of them when you ask, when they're making offering, when you ask them, you understand what you know the meaning of you doing? They will say no.
Yeah, very often, yeah.
But they're doing it with sincerely, with bhakti, with a consciousness. That's the karma yoga. They don't need to know, but they follow the guidance, the yoga discipline, how to do things, how your behavior, how your etika, how you control your mind, your emotion, your word, because you're going to perform offering this for the Holy Spirit, for instance. That's karma yoga. And then on the process of karma yoga, you will learn a lot at the same time. That's become jnana, knowledge. Maybe you learn something you never heard before. Maybe you learn something to make sure what you heard before, the fact is like that. Maybe you learn something that you never heard before. So that's the jnana yoga. Because in the process of this, especially big like this, that's why they have scarf, udang, the woman have the white. You have to control your mind. And then when you have jnana, and then all this preparation come. And then the climax is the Raja Yoga, which you pray to the God, offering to your work to the God, offering your bhakti to the God, offering your knowledge to the God. And that need a lot of element, material, financial, time to be sacrificed just to respect our ancestor, God, and also the nature through our tradition in Bali. And that's happen every day in Bali, everywhere in Bali. Not just in Bali, a lot of Balinese who outside Bali, they're doing the same also. Sindatran migration, like in Sumatra, Kalimantan, whatever. That's tradition being carried, and of course they will adjusting again with the cultural in the area they live. So that's what the Chatur Yoga that we're doing it. That's only happen in Bali. Not just people, the member of the villages, even animal, even plant, they have part in the ritual. Because all the element that using for ceremony, it has to be natural. Except for aqua, we get the plastic only. But the water is natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
But something that we offering, there is the essence has to be natural. Because we have 3 parts. The essence, and then the wali, like dance for instance, tari wali, that's sacral, sacred. Then tari babali, that's part of the offering. And then balian, that's a tari art for the pleasure, for kesenian, for balian is hiburan, entertainment.
Yeah.
So only we know the difference. The Balinese only know. Tourist doesn't know the barong dance in Batu Bulan and barong dance in the temple. The same look at barong, but the place, the time, the energy is different.
Yeah, it's very contextual, basically. Yeah.
Maybe you can feel it, but many people outside don't feel it. But they don't have to know that. I mean, they don't need that. They only need entertainment, so we performed entertainment. So all that element, etika, moralitas, to be aware of your negative character, positive character, that's happened in the yadnya, in the ritual, in the process of spiritual in Bali. And Balinese always will be transforming themselves according to kegiatan, activities, The amazing thing, I live in Australia. I have many friends come back to Bali. They like car, man. They like Harley Davidson. They're going on the street, boom, 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 with black eye glasses and so on. With blue jean is not, all tear apart. And then when they enter to the spiritual, they will transform. Not just the clothes, also the attitude and the etika and the moral when they're in the places.
Yeah.
So that's what the knowledge for, is to know the difference, to know how to place yourself in the different places, in the different situation.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of people don't understand the ins and outs of every ceremony. I think that's such a niche knowledge, but I think everyone has a role that they just are happy to follow, and if they tell them what to do, they will have to trust the leaders in order to provide the ceremonial agenda, essentially, right? I've never heard of that aspect of the personal journey for every upachara, and I think more and more, a lot of young Balinese sometimes, like you said, they don't know why they do things. Do you think there needs to be a little bit more of a awareness on the why on every time that they do a ceremony, whether it's daily or whether it's a big ceremony like this?
Actually, a lot of young generation visiting me too in that content of questioning, because now they also have a question from outsider, from their friend, from their everywhere. What does it mean? Why you do that? Why you do this? So the best thing I suggest them, do it first and then ask me the question. So because that's different when people come asking you because they want to know, just want to know, that's different. So when you do something, when you're being told with the leader that you trust, after that, you know what you're going to ask. Because sometimes they don't know what they're asking me. They just, what does it mean? What does it? The meaning is in the process. The meaning of life, the meaning of philosophy, the meaning of idea, the meaning of dream is in the process, not just in the head.
Yeah.
So there is two ways of education. Academically, maybe you study in the school, in the facultas. But practically, you learn in the society, in the community.
Yeah.
So, including a lot of outsider tourists also asking me that. And sometimes you follow me, just follow me and do what I told you. After that, you can ask me questions. Then I know where they putting their attention. Because sometimes when they follow me, they don't put attention, they don't know to ask me. Question need attention. And attention, the one you answer, not the question.
So I guess the best thing to do is, for young people, is always try to involve yourself.
That's what we're doing now in the villages.
Yeah.
We involve them, we give them space, we support the facilitas, and we motivated them. and we give some theosophy, philosophy, meaning about it, and they have to find it out. The outcome, or they have to feel it.
There's a really good example, a comparison from Christianity, actually, where there's a maths professor called John Lennox, who's a very open Catholic, is an Irish maths professor. And he talks about how when students go into theology for university, a lot of them actually lose their faith, because in university they over-intellectualize faith, right? And they're not really practicing, which is supposed to be a belief system or something personal. It's always about, just reading and trying to find the logic behind something that is not purely logical, essentially. So I totally understand what you mean by the practice is very much part of the understanding.
Yeah, like now in Ubud, not just Ubud young generation, they're making penyor now on the street. Almost about 13 villages of young generation involved. I give them space, I give them facilitas, make this for ritual and ceremony, and I explained it. Because lot of also involving from other villages, including the symbol of the god, barong, everything come to Ubud. So kebersamaan ini, gathering with the differences, is the way how to we can balance the differences. I mean the situational thing, and we facilitate them. So when they perform for offering, they will do their best. That's why when we not allowed to judge somebody doing ceremony or ritual, because they will do their best. Making ceremony, ritual, spiritual like ceremony now, not to be compared with other. Audience can compare it. For us, not for the comparison. We do our best. The best of everyone might be different according to perspective, angle, how they're looking at it. But that's also another thing. That's why when they do it, they don't think about other people will judge them. I offer the best. And they're making really good now. I was surprised too. About 13 banyar at least. And many in the term of dance, performance. Because seni, art, it's mean offering. Seni come from the word sani in Sanskrit. It's mean offering. When you're doing art for offering, you will have taksu of your art.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think in the West they call it like the flow state.
Yeah.
But I think here in Bali, obviously, we have a more spiritual sakala niskala way of explaining that state of being when it comes to art and creation, which is taksu.
Yeah, that's happened also. The young people discuss about the religions, the faith. Well, there's also a process from belief to faith. Faith is not to be discussed. Faith is faith. Belief maybe can be discussing it, because faith is already absolute. Nothing to discuss about. And that can be personal, and that can be communal. When you discuss faith, that means you're not faithful.
Yeah, that means you're still questioning, essentially. Yeah. So when the ceremony comes in November, does everyone already know? You mentioned a lot of young people making penjor or people making their offerings in preparation. Does everyone already know their role as they build up to the climax? how does just? I think we'd love to understand the practicality because it
So-
sounds like a crazy logistical nightmare.
This is important also because before we starting the ceremony, we make like panitia. What panitia? Committee.
Yeah.
Panitia, but in the term of choosing people in the panitia according for their hobby, not for the title of academic, not for the being rich and poor, but what is their hobby? So if their hobby is driving, for instance, taxi driver, put them in the sexy transport.
Yeah.
Even they are doctor, if their hobby is reading books, give him in the book, in the sexy apa namanya itu makawin itu ya.
Yeah, the reading of the texts.
The
Yeah.
reading. So because they have to do it with a happiness. Yadnya have to do it with pleasure and happiness according what they hobby, they part to perform it in the all sexy ada. If people like about animal and everything, yeah, put in the sexy cari bebek dan ayam because their hobby they know where to get it.
Yeah.
Like if they like farm, yeah, put in the sexy untuk mencari alat-alat kebun. Yeah. So all that according to choosing that people is very important too. If they like cooking, put tukang ebat, yeah, yeah, tukang. But if they like cockfighting, put in the cockfighting sexy, but it's control. That's control, and that's how I explain to the villagers when they try to make a panitia. Otherwise, it's going to be not work, because this has to be a lot of communication and adjustment. Just like weaving a thread, so many elements of thread, you have to put it together, so can create some form of pattern that to please everyone, niskala and sakala. That's why we need some guidance, choosing the material, time and everything. That's part of creating the pattern of spiritual journey.
How many people are involved, do you think, in estimation?
In Ubud now, the committee, 200 people.
Wow.
So I have to try not to make someone feel left behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this very sensitive.
Yeah.
So even though I know they not very active in the villages and so on, I have to put them up. That's part of the educating them, giving them space. Because sometimes a lot of judgment in between themselves. But as a leader, you're not allowed to judge your member, because all the member in the village is part of your body. Even they look crooked, your finger is part of your body. So I have to arrange that, managing that. That's why we call it organization, to make the organ of your body is healthy. That's why the word organization is actually reflection of your organ.
Well, you basically have to become a bit of a CEO for the upacara.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And you have to know the character of the person, their hobby, their profession, their time, because we don't want to make people upset or feel not part of it.
Well, it's the first time I've heard of a meritocracy which is not based on skill or ability, but meritocracy based on joy or happiness and enjoyment. I think that's a concept that I think probably needs to be applied in other areas of our life. Yeah.
Well, that's in the enjoying for your profession, enjoying doing your part.
Mm-hmm.
That's also one of the apa namanya tuh kecerdasan. You have to choose the people in the
It's part of
committee.
your wisdom.
The wisdom, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and all part, and everyone have to be involved. That
I understand that your son, Chok Day, has been tasked to, or one of his tasks is to collect holy water or tirtha from outside of Bali. Maybe I think that's quite an interesting aspect where people have to collect holy water outside of the island. Can you share a little bit more about that?
yeah, even Balinese ask me. Some people ask me. I think the water is the same in Bali, in Java, and everywhere.
Yeah.
Why we have to go to Java and everything? Yeah. So yadnya is sacrifice. Sacrifice need effort. The value of yadnya is this in your sacrificing an effort to get something for the ceremony. Yeah, it's the same called water. But the process of getting water from Java to Bali, all your mind, all your action, all your energy is in the water. How to protect this to be holy. Psychologically, because mind is the key. First. Secondly, to remind people historically, where is our source, our ancestor before? Where is the places that our ancestor been and doing thing, like in Lombok, like that's relating to the temple actually, temple to temple, spring to spring. And that's have so many education there if you put attention on this, because you have to concentrate to do that. If you not concentrate, not sensory doing it, you will get some accident. That's the mystical of it.
Yeah. So I mean, in the same way where in work, the more time and effort you put into something, the higher value that thing becomes. Is the same with tirtha, with holy water. So it's the effort creates the value.
Effort is as a offering your bhakti and respect to our ancestor who came to Bali.
Yeah. So coming to the puncak, the climax of the ceremony itself, what happens on that day?
So it's a few puncak actually.
Okay.
A few puncak. It's starting from we offering ceremony in the mountain. That's on the 3rd of November. Batur and on the lake. So mountain, lake. And then we have ceremony for Bagyo Pulakarti, purification and Momenda. That's on the 5th of November. And on the 4th of November, we have Melasti, carrying all the symbol and god and goddesses, to the ocean for purification. That's at least 54 trucks already booked in there.
Wow.
That's a big one, because not just Ubud, other villages also joining, relating our history with that village. And then on the 7th is the big one, which is Taur Macharu, that's on the cross of road. So will be 7 high priests will be perform that, and then sacrifice of water buffalo, and cow and animal and offering. And that time actually we invite the element of government, because government and adat has to be always collaboration in terms of ceremony or government program. So we invite even until to Jakarta to minister.
Wow.
Hopefully they can witness that ritual. Provinsi, kabupaten, kecamatan, and also other villages, head of and priest, and other puri also in Bali, who have some related history with Puri Ubud and with Ubud village. So that's a big one on the 7th. So that's balancing between element of earth and sky. That's why we call Bhuta Yadnya. Bhuta means elements. So putting all the Bhuta and Kala on these places. When Bhuta and Kala don't have places, they will make chaos. Same like when I make committee. The one doesn't have place, according to their prophecy, they will make chaos. So we put it there as a management. So that's very big. And then on the 10th is the climax of the ritual. That's 3 processes happening. So in the front, first in the inner temple, and then the goddesses we carry to the second one.
Which temple is this? Sorry.
Puradesa
Okay.
and Pura Jati. So, and then to Bali Agung, where all the goddesses have a meeting there. There's another ceremony there. To Bali Peselang first. Bali Peselang. Bali Peselang is the concept of Samara Ratih concept. That's when someone will reading about how this world are created. So Samara is the female and Samara is the male and Ratih is the female. God have to create that for the creation. That's they reading the story about all the creation. And for that, they go to Bali Agung, which is all again to pray for kemakmuran. Apa kemakmuran?
Fertility, is it?
Fertility. Fertility, Ratu Nini, the goddess of rice there, everything for fertility. Fertility of the villages, people, and the 3 world Burbuaswas actually. And then from there, we have a market. This all symbol of God will watching people. The committee will preparing to have rice, sugar, whatever the daily life is needed. It's going to buy it from the villages. But you only can pay cash. No susuk, You can use also ATM, So that will be really crowded because that part, the one they're taking it from the ceremony, they will keep it in their home, in the shrine for the good luck and for the blessing. So after that, finish maybe it start in the morning 9, might be finished until 1, 2, 3 o'clock, depend the situation. And then another 11 days, lot of everyday ceremony happening. And then lot of performance will happen, including the sacral, including the sacred dance and music will be performed. And anyone can be witnesses, but they also have to aware about the etica and morality. And some people will guidance people outside who don't understand it.
Where will those dances take place?
The 3 big perform will be in the crossroad, in the public access.
Okay.
So anyone can come, but still you have to behave yourself with your ethic and morally.
I'd love to dig a little bit deeper about those different punchaks, if you don't mind, Pak Tjok. Firstly, the significance of why, for a ceremony in Ubud, that you have ceremonies at the mountain and at the lake. Why do you? What are those significance for those ceremonies?
Because all the element we use for the material to perform the ceremony is come from mountain, lake, ocean, and land. So we have to thank the God in terms of mountain as a linga, and in terms of lake and ocean as a yoni. That's the concept of linga yoni. So, because from linga yoni it's come creation, male and female, sky and earth, mountain, lake, ocean, all that. And even many symbols that's giving that, what you call that, symbolic as a Purusa Pradana, the two male and female. And that's how this world created, In the term of nature, it's a mountain and lake. In terms of universe, it's sky and earth. Because God, according to Shastra, it's create space first. And space is the essence of sound and related to the whole of yourself, all the whole, the space. And then he create Bayu, angin, wind, energy, wind, In the wind relate the prana, the force of life. Relate to your nose, relate to your lung. But both you can't catch it, but you can feel it. And then he create fire, lights, and then you can see the difference, can see the form. And fire relate to your blood, energy, your blood, relate to your eyes, because eyes relate to your heart. And then after you see thing now, you can touch it now, you can hold it. You can touch the fire, but you don't hold it too long, then you can burn yourself. Because whoever become friend of fire, they will become fire, And then the God create water. Water relate to senses of the tongue. You can make the difference of taste and everything. And 70% of your body is fire. It's the force of life. You can touch the water, can have cold and form. And then the last one, he create the earth, the bhumi, who have the 5 elements. The physical body is created from the earth. That's why we call microcosmos, and the universe, including the earth, called macrocosmos, because all that element have the same, what it's given from the Creator.
Yeah. Buana Agung, Buana Al.
Yeah. And you can learn more deeply relating the organ in yourself, relating your character, your sifat. All that have character. 5 elements have character. Relating to the pancha, the one I said before about the 5 elements that you get it, all relate that. So that's the Veda explained it to be performed in the spiritual journey in Bali, especially to be able to keep the taksu, the energy, the spirit in this in this earth, in this world.
You mentioned earlier about the crossroads, and I think this is a really interesting element because we see it in quite a lot of different ceremonies. For example, during the Ogo parades, they always, or during Ngaben, during the cremations as well. Why are crossroads such an important sort of space when it comes to ceremonies?
Yeah, because in a very village, infrastructure of the village, crossroad is the middle, the meeting of the four energy. East, west, south, north. The meeting of the energy. Also, the place of, not away, putting back the energy. Like sucking and exploding the energy. Same time. That's during the people died, they turn it different way.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. During Macharu, they turn it different way. During the other ceremony, they turn it around, different around. Left or right,
Clockwise or anti-clockwise, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the energy flow. If you go right, you're going up. You left, you're going down. So that's according to the motivation and the attention of the ritual. That's why the crossroad is important. Crossroad in the compound of houses in front of the Marajan. And so crossroad in yourself is in here. That's why during a classical dance, a lot of performance, a lot of people also using that cross, which is in that term is protection, to naturalize the negative energy to become positive energy. Because from the crossroad, they become swastika. They put around this. From swastika, they become Padma, the lotus. That's how the process. So actually that when it becomes swastika, that means the force of evolution of the universe, energy of evolution. When become Padma, they purify that evolution. They become the force of life. All life, not just for human. To be cycled the three upati sthiti parina, birth, life and death. That's all. So that's physical. Your soul and your atma is no born, no dead. It's life all the time. That's why you are incarnated. Your soul is incarnated. Personal. But Atman is universe. Like a candle. Have a wick, have a fire, have they warm, have they light, have they smoke. How you divide that? How you said there is no God? How you said there's no wick when there's a light come? When there's a smoke there, when it's a warm, you feel it. Where does your warmth of yourself come from? It must be some source of light there.
Do all elements have to exist for that to come alive? Or is it more that you need the source of energy for the candle to come alive?
Yeah. But the light can be a knowledge. That's why you don't have to be mean to your knowledge. Because your light as well never finish. One candle can make a lot of light without losing itself.
True.
So that's the whole process of yadnya, ceremony, spiritual in Bali, whatever the different way in the villages, how to perform, custom, everything. But the essence of it is to unify the differences to create some harmonies.
Last question, Pak Tjok. Does the world benefit from Bali ceremonies? Because I remember, I think it was after the Bali bombs, there were massive cleansing ceremonies, and that wasn't just for Bali. Of course, it was for Bali to ward off the negative spirits. But does Bali feel a sense of responsibility to the world to do these large balancing ceremonies with
Not
seen and unseen?
feeling responsible. It's obligation of being birthed as a human. Of course, Bali have contribution. That's why so many people come to Bali. That's the physical contribution. All over the world now come to Bali for what? For different motivation. Why come to Bali? Because some magnetize energy. Yeah, you can make promotion and everything, but where is no energy, it would become. Where is no light, the what you call that animal at night, the dalu we call it, it wouldn't come. The darkness looking for light.
Oh, you've just really turned my perspective a little bit, because so often we think about tourism exists because of the culture, but now you're saying almost that tourism is a result, because it's almost tourism was destined for Bali because people needed to come here.
Yeah. I can look at in that perspective, because that the fact is. But now, how to be organized those coming?
Yeah.
Not to be exploding the culture. Instead of conservation or preserve, it now become exploitation.
Yeah.
Whose obligation is that? We should all do.
What do you count as exploitation?
First, a lot of rubbish around, population, pollution, infrastructure, water, and that also our obligation.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned the other day, we Balinese, we do our Trihita Karana for the temple, environment in our area, in Bendesa Adat. We try to keep harmonies between our relation with the people in the villages. If all the people who come to Bali doing the same motivation of preserving Bali as universal philosophy, Trihita Karana not belong to Balinese only. That's universal philosophy.
Yeah.
And Bali will be so clean, Every will be happy and smiling each other, even they come from different country, different places. But how we can create that? We need a manpower to organize that. It's possible if you want and commit to do it.
Is it just resources? I mean, for me, I think there's a spark that also, which is it's not material, it's not just manpower, it's not just money, but it also needs the keinginan, it also needs the will.
Will.
Yeah, do we have
good
that?
will, political will, and also consistency of the aturan, of the regulation. Regulation. That's all part of it. I don't try to blame anyone, but we see the fact, and we always say about Trihita Karana. We promote that to get people come. And at the same time, we also have to do some preserving. Because we as a Bendesa and the other Klian, everything we call Prajuru in Bali, they perform their part as an offering for their ancestor and their belief in their God. It's not about salary. Pemangku, lot of volunteer in the villages. So we have to look back sometime to go forward. Not just going forward without looking back.
How do you convince, because back maybe in previous generations, let's call it temptations were less. So to accept difficult responsibilities, it's easier to accept it. But now there's so much more temptations to not accept responsibilities, or there's more temptation to exploit, or there's more temptation to go against your traditions.
Yeah, I don't blame about the time of modern whatever. I'm not against that, but to be aware and conscious, and have to be collaborate and do it together in every stakeholder in Bali.
Yeah.
Because that's how the only way to do it.
Yeah.
So we all have to sacrifice some of our ego to be able to get together.
Yeah. Absolutely, yes. Well, I think that's probably, we could probably keep talking for a long time, but we've really got into some deep subjects here, and I really appreciate your knowledge, your wisdom, and your input of demystifying what I think a lot of people want to understand a lot more. I think, like you said, people come here, and I think there is a hunger for understanding, and I think there's a hunger for a connection which Bali has to nature, a connection to a more physical and visual connection to the other spiritual side.
Yeah, that's why we should preserve it together for the future of our children. And not enough to look in perspective in one side. Sometimes you have to go up to look it down.
Yeah. Well, same like you going to Australia. You had to leave to appreciate what you came from, essentially.
To appreciate your house, you have to go out from your house. Then you can see it from outside.
Yeah. Well, I hope more and more Balinese create, the appreciation for everything they have, because it is a special island.
Yeah, not enough to just feel the warmth of the sun from inside of your house. You have to go out to see the sun.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to go out, because some people might feel afraid of it. It can be naturally as a faith, you can be planting it yourself. But to go outside doesn't mean you being outside.
Well, thank you so much, Tjok.
Pleasure. And I hope it's useful for some people.
Absolutely. I think I think this will create more curiosity, because all of these answers only create more questions.
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah.
But thank you, and we wish you best of luck also with your big ceremony. Yeah. Thank you so much, Baba Tjok.
Pleasure.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Om Santi Santi.
Santi Santi. Thank you so much for joining another episode of the Now Bali podcast. What a special interview we just had with Tjokorda Raka Kerthyasa. If you love Balinese culture, one way that you can support this podcast and Now Bali is by purchasing Timeless Bali Volume 4. Just published. This is the latest in our publication series, all about Balinese culture, history, and society. So if you'd like to support us, please purchase Timeless Bali Volume 4. Thank you very much. This is Eddie Spears for the Now Bali podcast. See you next time.